And with Hancho defeated, we're moving on to the next unofficial world of the game. Although, technically it's Hancho's airship, so there is some connectedness between the levels for whatever that's worth. But basically, we're playing the sky level. And this one, oh god, it's this one. This one's got the next heart container very close to the beginning of the stage, thankfully, so it's easy enough to go back and get if you missed it. But, like, you need to do some slightly fiddly things to get this. The first fiddly...
Oh, it's got Donkey Kong barrels.
Yes, Donkey Kong barrels are a thing. The first fiddly thing you need to do is go in here and get this key. And what that will do is it will spawn an invincibility power-up. When you pick up the timed Metal Mario thing, it turns you invincible. Once you're invincible, you have to go inside the fucking burning furnace, which will launch you up into the inside of this hot air balloon. And now once you're here, don't fall out until you get the heart container. It's way up top, and the physics in here are not exactly easy to control. So there you go. Got
Everyone around this time was really obsessed with making their characters metal.
Because they could show off them shiny lighting textures.
It was a very easy, impressive
texture to do.
Yeah, it was a very easy, pretty-looking thing to do in PlayStation 1 style graphics.
Why is everything chrome?
Yeah.
Everything is chrome in the 90s.
In the Dreamcast era, you know why chaos existed in Sonic Adventure? Because they wanted to do something that they couldn't do in the previous generation, and their answer to that was liquid. I would argue that in Sonic Adventure graphics they couldn't do liquid either, but, you know, they tried. It was a valiant effort.
There's at least something different than a generic fire monster, yes.
Yeah, because it's now a generic water monster.
I'll take generic water monster over generic fire monster.
I don't know, like, Chaos, like, he's just kind of like, oh no, my clothes are wet. Now I have to get changed. I mean, he
I don't
also,
know.
like,
Floods are floods are pretty deadly unless you evacuate everyone safely just in the nick of time.
Yeah, but there's firefighters and not water fighters.
Now,
we don't need water fighters when we have the power of Brawny.
One of the things about
just throw paper towels into it.
One of the things about the sky levels is that you're going to find quite a few more health restoration pickups than you found in previous levels from this point on. Most of the time, that's because the levels, you're very, 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 very likely to take damage in these levels. But if you know what the general layout of the obstacles is ahead of time, what this winds up feeling like is balanced difficulty. So, yeah, what winds up feeling like a cheap shot your first time through feels a lot more fair on round 3, and at that point, the health pickups start to feel a little more normal. It's one of those weird things. Yeah, it's very Nintendo hard.
Huh.
So, like, okay, we're the dragon now. The dragon is like full flight. This really, really reminds me of the Phoenix from Jill of the Jungle and how it controls, actually. It's the same kind of thing, just full flight and a horizontal projectile. Oh, God. I'm like one of the only 2 people watching or participating in this video who's ever played Jill of the Jungle. Aren't I?
I was going to say, you probably have more chances of getting reactions from this game than a Jill of the Jungle
okay,
at this point.
It's free on GOG, okay? So just go get the game and play it. It's like 2 hours long. Alright? Every game in that goddamn trilogy is 2 hours long. So, like... And they're good, okay? They're good, janky, old DOS platformers. And I realize that sounds like combining matter with antimatter, but like Jill of the Jungle makes it work. So go play it. It's good. When you're done here, of course.
or leave this tab open while you go get Jill of the Jungle on GOG.
It is an old nostalgic shareware DOS game though for me. I was glad when they made it free. Did you know that you could actually actively still buy that game online? Like, for the longest time.
Like, using the old...
No, like, they have a website that's still up where you can buy well, I think it's still up, where you can buy the installers for the game. And it's a DOS game, so, like, it's easy to get running. All you need is DOSBox. Like, everything from the DOS era is, like, as easy, if not easier, to emulate as the frickin' NES. So, yeah. So you could play Jill of the Jungle very, very easily, but, well, it's kind of an obscure oldie, so not very many people knew about it. Ooh.
When you played it when it came out, did you say?
Yeah, I played the shareware version specifically, which is just the first game in the trilogy. It was one of those games where it came in parts, and they released the first part as a free game that you were allowed to share with your friends, hence shareware. So, Doom, the original Doom, and Wolfenstein 3D both did the same thing, although in their...
they're like crack dealers. They want to get you hooked on the first freebie.
Yeah, although in their cases it was an episode within a single game, rather than a small game that acts as a standalone. Oh, God damn it. These dragon sections are harder than you would think, just from the sheer amount of shit that they throw at you, but I've managed to make it through it.
Yeah. Yeah. So for a lot of shareware stuff, a lot of people just didn't really care, though. So they just kind of copied it anyway. And
despite what the song says, we all copied that floppy.
Yeah, DRM was pretty much non-existent back then. If a game did have DRM, what it did was it asked you a question, and the answer was in the physical manual.
In which case, you called your friend who had the game, and they would tell you.
Or you just say, or it just says, please don't copy this, please.
Yeah.
Please. I'll be your best friend.
I'll tell you one thing you might find interesting, though. Jill of the Jungle, the game I was just talking about, the developers were a little company called Epic Mega Games, who we know today as simply Epic Games.
Wait.
Yeah,
Epic.
them.
Jill of the Jungle. Jungles have forts in them. Forts are part of...
You hide in them during the night.
So what you're saying is... Apex Legends commentary for BrainScratch comes when?
No, that's EA, isn't it?
That's the
how
joke.
about the year 1998 BC?
BC?
BC.
Okay.
Yes.
So, we'll have...
We'll write them down on clay tablets, send them back in time, and then you can go read them then.
So, Pharaoh, Ryan, King,
No.
John,
Okay. The first legitimately really annoying thing the Sky World throws at you, well, apart from the goddamn missiles, which do get very, very annoying as you go through the area.
How are they missiles if they move up and down like that?
I don't know.
You think you could come up with a different enemy that would be more fitting for that kind of movement pattern than missiles?
Well, those aren't really enemies, they're just obstacles. You can blow them out of the way, and they disappear on impact. So if you happen to tank the damage, they're out of your way. But there is an enemy that is very similar, but it does actually pursue you actively. Oh, damn it. You can't jump on the missiles either. That does damage. These things, most of the time, they come from above while you're jumping up toward them. They home in on you. If you know they're there, you can manipulate them into a more favorable position, but then you get shit like this, where there's a cannon that shoots you directly up into one of the fucking things. Oh, hey, it bounced me up and I skipped a chunk of the level.
DDQ high!
Like, the Sky World has the two most annoying enemies in the game, though. The first one is that homing missile with the face on it. The second one doesn't come up until like the second area of the final level of the game, and it has a similar sort of it follows you around and tries to home in on you gimmick. Oh, god damn it!
You panicked. You panicked.
But you can't damage the other enemy that I'm talking about without power-ups. You need the projectile weapon in order to damage them. The only other way to get them out of your hair is to turn on this light that temporarily renders them harmless. But they'll follow you around the entire area until you get through it, and you're supposed to deal with this other enemy while trying to hunt down 2 keys to open the way to the next section. So it's not like you can just run past them and get on with your business. They follow you around while you search this area for the keys.
do they infinitely respawn, or is it just like the
They
one?
don't infinitely respawn. You can kill them with the projectile power-up, but once you do, they're gone. There's just multiple instances of the same enemy in the area, so you have to deal with all of them.
Oh, you're not kidding. They are Donkey Kong Country barrels.
They are exactly Donkey Kong Country
You know
barrels.
what? I'm gonna throw out a hashtag hot take here. I don't like I don't think that's how you're supposed to do that, but whatever. Okay, anyway, back to things that people will yell at me for. I've never really liked the barrels in Donkey Kong Country, like, at all. Like, I've just always found them very boring and non-interactive.
I can.
Like,
Oh,
'cause-
damn it! Oh,
Oh, you didn't
You're
die.
alive.
there's level below. Okay, so I can
Yeah,
make my way back up.
I've always found that they're very static. It's like it's the most that they can really do is timing. It's just like, okay, press the button at the right time so you don't die, or press the button at this time during its rotation so you go down the right path. Which
And
I
yet
mean,
they were
it's-
the hardest. And yet they were the hardest things to do as a kid.
I mean, yeah, that's because it's not because they're complicated. It's because there's a 2-frame window when you're actually able to do it. It's
So the smoother the
it's-
animation gets, the easier it becomes, basically.
a little bit, yeah. Although they are also in Ukulele and the Impossible Lair, which is a fantastic game, by the way, which you should play. And they're still pretty finicky there too.
It's
I mean, like,
it's-
there's nothing wrong with them, but there's just always in these games huge levels built around them, and I'm just like, I'm just timing the A button.
You know,
But-
it's too bad the main eventer, the big 3D game, wasn't as positively received or as well executed as the 2D spin-off title.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people are very harsh on the 3D Ukulele.
I feel like
think
a lot of them are a little harsh, but a lot of them also aren't. Like,
here's the thing, it's not a bad game.
It's
and I
not
feel
a
like
bad
if anybody's
game, but-
calling it a bad game is they're overblowing it.
Yeah.
It certainly has issues.
I think
But-
it's a matter. I think it's a matter of we finally got the Banjo quote unquote game we wanted after so long, and then after we finally got it, we kind of realized, oh, there's kind of a reason we stopped making games like this.
Yeah, it's an N64 throwback in every way possible, and it's just like, okay, we made that N64 3D style platformer you guys wanted. Yeah, but we didn't want it just like the N64 games, but that's what you asked for. I mean, so yeah, I personally like it, but then again, I also, the antiquated stuff in some of the old 3D platformers didn't bother me as much personally, so there's that. Then there's also just kind of vague things some people will say, like, oh, I don't think it's as charming as the old ones, and I'm like, okay.
I hate it when
You
that
can think
happens.
that.
I take a hit trying to get a health pickup, so I wind up right back where I started.
If you die trying to get a life, that life is no longer worth it.
The problem, the thing that's gonna
But
make
then if I get it the
Oh,
next time,
damn it.
then it will be worth it.
I did it again. Okay, here's the thing about the dragon sections, okay? The dragon can move absurdly fast if you don't moderate your speed, so you're constantly, like, pumping the gas, as it were.
How do you gain altitude? Do you press up or press a button?
Up.
Okay,
just
so
up.
it's not like swimming in Mario.
No, it's just straight up flying. That's why I said it reminds me of the Phoenix from Jill of the Jungle, which controls in pretty much the same way. Ooh.
Okay.
And is
I mean,
also
this
an
one
animal
actually looks-
transformation.
This one actually looks fun, though,
Uh.
unlike the turtle, which just kind of seemed to be there.
To be a hindrance more than anything.
Oh. Okay. That balloon.
Spider-Man, my balloon!
Spider-Man, I lost my balloon. Can you stop your important city saving? Get my balloon, Spider-Man?
Now, one of the things, at the end of this level, I kind of got confused because I was using a guide, a written guide specifically, to figure out where the heart containers were.
Oh, the vaguely written guide that you're not entirely sure what it means.
Yeah, the guide mislabeled the level numbers. So the
Oops.
heart container I was looking for is in a level called the Freet Palace, which is several levels ahead, but they numbered it.
Was this a game fax from like 1999 or something?
Probably. It was GameFAQs. I'm pretty sure it was.
I love how there are game facts still on the site from like 2000, 2001.
Oh yeah, like my old DMC4 ranking guide is still up. It still exists, and it's completely obsolete now.
It's interesting though that I think that there still are a lot of game game facts out there, but for the most part, I feel like people just look up video guides now
Oh
because
yeah.
it's a lot
Well,
easier.
it's easier and it's more productive at this point. This I'm talking like strictly 90s, 2000s.
Well,
Where
I did use video guides too, but I used the written guide to figure out like what level to look for. You know?
Yeah,
So-
that's
instead,
true.
instead of watching the entire playthrough about it.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's just funny because
I wouldn't be able to do this if I was playing as Fargus. Just double jumping from cloud to cloud and ignoring the moving platform entirely.
it's just it's I remember going back and looking up guides in the starting in the mid 2000s.
So this was that's the end of level teleporter, and I'm going back because the guide said that there should be like a tornado at the end of the level, right before the
And
exit
it's
gate.
and it's not in this level.
It's not in this level now.
Oops.
Yeah, but it's just I remember having similar issues to this all the time when I was a kid. It's just like the guide would say, okay, and this thing right here, what you see, and I'm just like, what thing? I don't see it, and it's just like,
Yeah,
you
they
get
worded
that-
they would always word it very badly. It's like the monster in front of you. It's like which one? There's like 20 of them here.
The thing is,
Yeah, and-
the guide in this case would have been perfect if they'd numbered the level correctly. They got they got the name of the level correct, so it's partly my fault for not picking up on that. But they numbered it incorrectly, and that led to some confusion on my part. So the person who wrote that guide probably has no interest in going back and correcting a probably 10-year-old guide about an.
You go find some guy in like his mid 50s now. It's like update your game facts, damn it.
what? I need to take my kid to soccer practice.
I haven't
Oh.
logged into that site in 15 years.
Are the forums still full of people arguing about stupid bullshit?
Well, that never changes. It's the internet.
Yeah, but the GameFAQs forums in particular are/were/still are infamous for just having the
Oh, don't get them started on the annual
Okay,
character of
the
the year
only
poll thing.
reason the GameFAQs forum aren't the cesspit of the internet is because Reddit and 4chan exist. So, yeah, they're solid bronze on that count.
So they're just happy to be there.
Yeah, like I'm one of the stories that I remember hearing
damn it.
when Chugga Conroy did his Super Paper Mario playthrough was he was having trouble in like chapter 6 or whatever and he was marathoning the game when it first came out. So we went to the GameFAQs boards and asked, "Hey, what do I do during so and so or whatever?" And the responses he got were, "Check the guides." There were no guides, and "Wow, you're such a loser. You've got that far in the game already. Get a life." And I'm just like, "Wow, you guys are dicks. You're talking about him getting a life when you're hanging out on the GameFAQs forums." I'm just gonna leave that there.
Yeah.
Nick Liv.
That sounds like
Nick
that
Lieb.
sounds like the GameFAQs forums, all right. That sounds exactly like the GameFAQs forums. Ugh. I just threw up a little in my mouth thinking about it. It's like, and you know what? You can't escape the GameFAQs forums either because they're like one of the first things that always comes up on Google when you type in a generic question about a game you're playing. Ugh. Anyway, see you all next part as we continue the sky world of Pandemonium and its endless cacophony of frustration.